Consultations are to begin to prepare for new sexual violence legislation. Details in this report. Sexual violence legislation should see an increase in conviction rate for such offences. As part of the consultative process, the Human Services Ministry sent out its national paper on sexual violence to stakeholders, and another level of consultation would be held soon. A recent report on sexual violence suggests that conviction rate between 2000 and 2004 was just 1.4%. The Human Services Ministry says that sexual offences laws have been unchanged for centuries. Human Services Minister Priya Manik-Chan today identified some of those areas for critical changes.
Right now, our law is so archaic that rape is a very narrow offense. It means penetration of a penis, of a vagina by a penis. That is the extent of rape. Anything else is sexual assault, if that much. That's what our law provides for right now. We intend to make that wider by making it penetration of any body part, including the vagina, by any object or body part, including a penis, or penile penetration of the mouth.
As it is, the violation of one's body with a foreign object is seen as sexual assault and not rape. With consultation, the ministry is proposing legislation that would see the abolition of preliminary inquiries for sexual offence cases and witnesses' statements replacing the PIs. But conditions are also being proposed.
We found that it is very unfriendly. Legislation right now you have to do PIs, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, preliminary inquiries, which works out to be almost a whole trial, and all the trauma that goes with a trial, and victims are put through that as well as a high court trial if it ever gets to the high court, if that particular matter ever gets to the high court. We propose to abolish preliminary inquiries the way we know them now.
Minister Manik-Chan said that it is hoped that legislation makes it easier for children to give evidence and that in-camera hearings could be the norm. Pointing to the protection of victims, the minister said that this cannot be looked at without guidance from the national paper on sexual violence.
Legislation by itself means nothing, and that is why we have put forward in this particular paper not only the legislative changes we intend to make, but the changes as it relates to policy and guidelines that would have to be used by other service protectors. Without doubt, without legislation, we can go no further.
For Prime News, Nazima Ragapur.